guara gu paygo ya jagana ayada günana yelana yelata ürküdüt boz tengri azit suana zuata odana odada yarın rigurmez yalika laz bayanay kalin lotigen wah. Mergen kızırgan numay guara gu paygo ya jagana ayada günana yelana yelata ürküdüt boz tengri azit suana zuata odana odada yarın rigurmez yalika laz bayanay kalin lotigen wah.
If it could break the sound barrier, falling out of a window.
Det är det enda ni gör på dagarna. Ni sitter där vid en tril och spelar Dota.
Vi sitter här i väntan och spelar lite Dota.
I hear you man.
Vi sitter här i väntan och spelar lite Dota.
I feel you man.
Vi sitter här i väntan och spelar lite Dota och pushar på och smeker med motståndet vi leker. Vi sitter här i väntan och spelar lite Dota och springer runt och creepar och motståndet vi slipar.
Let's get it on.
Vi sitter här i väntan och spelar lite Dota och pushar på och smeker med motståndet vi leker. Vi sitter här i väntan och spelar lite Dota och springer runt och creepar och motståndet vi slipar. Vi sitter här i väntan och spelar lite Dota och pushar på och smeker med motståndet vi leker. Vi sitter här i väntan och spelar lite Dota och springer runt och creepar och motståndet vi slipar.
Have one on the house.
Vi sitter här i vänten och spelar lite Dota.
I hear you, man.
Vi sitter här i vänten och spelar lite Dota.
I feel you, man.
Vi sitter här i vänten och spelar lite Dota.
That's more like it.
Vi sitter här i vänten och spelar lite Dota.
Excellent choice.
Vi sitter här i vänten och spelar lite Dota och pushar på och smeker med motståndet vi leker. Vi sitter här i vänten och spelar lite Dota och springer runt och creepar och motståndet vi slipar.
Let's get it on.
Vi sitter här i vänten och spelar lite Dota och pushar på och smeker med motståndet vi leker. Vi sitter här i vänten och spelar lite Dota och springer runt och creepar och motståndet vi slipar. Vi sitter här i vänten och spelar lite Dota och pushar på och smeker med motståndet vi leker. Vi sitter här i vänten och spelar lite Dota och springer runt och creepar och motståndet vi slipar.
Don't worry. Be happy.
I'm a scat man. I'm a scat
Everybody stutters one way or the other, so check out my message to you. As a matter of fact, I don't let nothing hold you back. If the scat man can do it, so can you. Everybody's saying that the scat man stutters but does and never stutter when he sings. But what you don't know, I'm gonna tell you right now that the stutter and the scat is the same thing. Yo, I'm the scat man. Where's the scat man? I'm the scat man. Why should we be pleasing any politician reasons who would try to change the seasons if they could? The state of the condition insults my intuition and it only makes me crazy and hard like wood. Everybody stutters one way or the other, so check out my message to you. As a matter of fact, don't let nothing hold you back. If the scat man can do it, brother, so can you. I'm the scat man. Everybody stutters one way or the other, so check out my message to you. As a matter of fact, I don't let nothing hold you back. If the scat man can do it, so can you. I hear you all ask out the meaning of scat. Well, I'm the professor and all I can tell you is while you're still sleeping, the saints are still weeping, because things you call dead haven't yet had the chance to be born. I'm the scat man. Where's the scat man? I'm the scat man. Repeat after me. It's a Scooby-Dooby, Scooby-Dooby melody. I'm the scat man. Sing along with me. It's a Scooby-Dooby, Scooby-Dooby melody. Yeah, I'm the scat man.
time. One more time. One more time. We're gonna celebrate. Oh yeah, alright. Don't stop the dancing. One more time. We're gonna celebrate. Oh yeah, alright. Don't stop the dancing. One more time. We're gonna celebrate. Oh yeah, alright. Don't stop the dancing. One more time. We're gonna celebrate. Oh yeah. One more time. One more time. We're gonna celebrate. Oh yeah, alright. Don't stop the dancing. One more time. We're gonna celebrate. Oh yeah, don't stop the dancing. One more time. You know I'm just feeling celebration tonight. Celebrate. Don't wait too late. No, we don't stop. You can't stop. We're gonna celebrate. One more time. One more time. One more time. A celebration. You know we're gonna do it right tonight. Hey, just feeling. Music's got me feeling the need. Yeah. Come on. Alright, we're gonna celebrate. One more time. Celebrate and dance so free. Music's got me feeling so free. Celebrate and dance so free. One more time. Music's got me feeling so free. We're gonna celebrate. Celebrate and dance so free. One more time. Music's got me feeling so free. We're gonna celebrate. Celebrate and dance so free. One more time. Music's got me feeling so free. We're gonna celebrate. Celebrate and dance so free. One more time. Music's got me feeling so free. We're gonna celebrate. Celebrate and dance so free. One more time. Music's got me feeling so free. We're gonna celebrate. Celebrate and dance so free. One more time. Music's got me feeling so free. We're gonna celebrate. Celebrate and dance so free. One more time. Music's got me feeling so free. We're gonna celebrate. Celebrate and dance so free. One more time. Music's got me feeling so free. We're gonna celebrate. Celebrate and dance so free. One more time. Music's got me feeling so free. We're gonna celebrate. One more time. Music's got me feeling so free. We're gonna celebrate. Celebrate and
в нашого шома зелена шоба, дівки гуляли, шобу порвали, сійовію, сійовію, конопелички, сійовію, сійовію, зеленесеньки. Гей, нумо, нумо, заплетемо шома, шома заплетемо, гуляти підемо, сійовію, сійовію, конопелички, сійовію, сійовію, зеленесеньки. Гей, заплетися, що ми заплетися, зеленим барвінком та й застелися, сійовію, сійовію, конопелички, сійовію, сійовію, зеленесеньки. А в нашого шома зелена шоба, дівки гуляли, шобу порвали, сійовію, сійовію, конопелички, сійовію, сійовію, зеленесеньки. Гей, заплетися, що ми заплетися, зеленим барвінком та й застелися, сійовію, сійовію, конопелички, сійовію, сійовію, зеленесеньки. А в нашого шома зелена шоба, дівки гуляли, шобу порвали, сійовію, сійовію, конопелички, сійовію, сійовію, зеленесеньки. Гей, розплетемо, шома розплетемо, шома розплетемо, гуляти підемо, сійовію, сійовію, конопелички, сійовію, сійовію, зеленесеньки. Гей, нумо, нумо, розплетемо шома, шома розплетемо, гуляти підемо, сійовію, сійовію, конопелички, сійовію,
Hello, everybody. Hello, welcome back.
розплетися, шома розплетися, зеленим барвінком та й
This
сійовію, сійовію, конопелички, сійовію, сійовію.
pronounced shum. Little squarish W looking. It's pronounced sh. Hey everybody. Guess what? Dick Cheney. Dick Cheney. He's gone. not familiar with Dick Cheney, if you're not familiar with Dick Cheney and you find it in bad taste that we're over here playing music, Dick Cheney is a war criminal. During the Bush administration, he was basically the brains behind the operation, and he's a big part of why the United States invaded Afghanistan and Iraq. Lots of people died, trillions of dollars spent. Time's over. Party time's over. Party time's over. Let's get down to business. I was watching your VOD on compliments and it gave me a lot to think about, things that I never even thought about. Thank you so much for making it. Thank you for watching it. Wasn't that a fun topic? Hey everybody, we're getting started a little early today. We're installing a new garage door. Casey's dad ripped out the old one. And I'm gonna see if he needs any help later putting in some new stuff. Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back. It's Tuesday. Zohran Mamdani is going to be the next mayor of New York City. It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. It's nice to see the American people undoing countless years and countless dollars of propaganda to make them anti-socialist. It's nice to see us overcoming that and finally, doing the right thing. Alrighty, we've got the question box open. We finally hit 6,500 questions, so we're at 6,501. We're on the road to 7K. My second giant tea of the day. So, where do you get your sweaters? This was actually a gift that Sean got me. This one's from Lucky. What's funny is that Jerma has the same one, and I've seen him wear it sometimes, and I'm like, hey. That's my cardigan. Don was over yesterday. He brought his computer. That thing was bogged down. It was bogged down because I guess he had been letting Ryan use it. And Ryan installed a bunch of stuff, and so it was just like, see, here's the problem, Sean. I was showing him. I felt like a mechanic in the car shop. I was like, well, you see, here's the problem. It's got this program installed that launches itself when you turn the computer on, and it's taken up 25% of your CPU, so that's not good. So we just went ahead and wiped everything. Just wiped everything, did a fresh install of Windows. You're late? No, you're not late, I'm just early. I'm just early. Like I said before, we're installing a new garage door. So here in a couple hours, I'm gonna go help with that. So I wanted to get a little bit of an earlier start. But we'll be here, we'll be hanging out. We've got the question box open. I'm gonna try not to look at my sub count because it might make me sad. I'll just not look in that direction. Just all right. As far as the time change goes, I feel okay. I think I'm caught up now. But if you ask me, I think daylight savings time, it's all a psyop. They're trying to destabilize you so that you're more vulnerable to advertisements leading into the holiday season. Trying to get you to spend more money on toys. Alright, everybody. We've got some questions in the box. Let's take a look. Any tips for someone who is moving away from what I'd say are entitled parents? I'm sure once they know I am moving into a one-bed, one-bath apartment with my boyfriend, they are going to be really mad at me. I wonder what they're going to be mad about. What are they going to be mad about? What do you mean only one bedroom, one bathroom? What do you mean? You're not moving into a 3,000 square foot home? I'm not sure what the question is. I'm not sure either, but I'm gonna speculate. Alright, so let's read into it. The parents are entitled, which to me makes me feel like the parents put a lot of emphasis on the material. And so maybe from their perspective, moving into a one bedroom, one bathroom is like, oh, how could you? What do you mean there's no guest bedroom for us to come and stay when we visit? Anyway, it's your life. You're allowed to live it. And your parents, they can catch up. They can deal with that. I think it's important for parents to recognize that you cannot force your child to do anything. And doing that only makes them resentful of you. Now, when you're an adult, you should be able to have adult conversations with your parents because the dynamic has changed. You are no longer a developing child. You are a full-grown human being. Having a healthy relationship with your parents as an adult, it's going to involve mutual understanding. Also, I thought that moving into a small apartment with a significant other was what a lot of people did when they moved out of their parents' house. I thought this was kind of normal. So are they mad that you're leaving? Are they mad that you're only getting a one bedroom? Or are they mad that you're moving in with your boyfriend? It's not like you're out there selling drugs. It's not like you're out there robbing convenience stores. You're just trying to live your life. That's it. Out of wedlock situation seems like the highest likelihood. Yeah. Apparently you're supposed to meet, date, get to know somebody, all while living at home with your parents. And then you have to get married before you're allowed to live with them. Marriage is serious. It's a serious thing. We're not going to try to downplay that. But I feel like some people take it too seriously. You know what I mean? Especially when it comes to premarital relations. Would you purchase a car without ever taking it for a test drive? Would you purchase a home without ever taking a step inside? Of course not. Anyway, your parents are adults. If they have a problem with what you're doing, they can talk to you like an adult. If they want to get mad about it, if they want to throw a temper tantrum, that's on them. You know, don't be afraid to talk to them. Don't be afraid to tell them how you feel and what you're thinking. But do it like an adult. Talk to them like I'm talking to you now. Like marriage doesn't bring as much benefits as it does. It kind of depends on where you live because marital rights are different in different places. In some places it's important. I see now how it can go very wrong. What type of guy? Does he have a job? Are you supporting him, etc.? The person that wrote this question sounds like they're young. I'm assuming that they're in their early 20s. This is the time period of life to be doing those things. You know, if you want to go out and live with somebody and make some mistakes and, you know, do it while you're young. Got married quicker for the financial benefit here in Texas. Oh yeah, Texas, an interesting place. An interesting place, that's for sure. Texas. When I went to Texas, the highways were messing me up. Because on a Texas highway, if you're using GPS, it'll say, exit in 1 mile. And I'm like, okay, that gives me a few seconds to, you know, get over and merge. It's like, no, in Texas, that means this is actually your exit right here. The exit lane is 1 mile long. The off-ramp is 1 mile long, so... I almost missed my exit quite a few times driving around in Texas because of that. Because I thought I had more time. I'm like, oh no, this is actually my exit right here. It's just a very long exit ramp. Anyway, questioner, I think if everything is solid and, you know, you're going to be able to move out and have this place and you're not going to be worried about how you're going to pay for it, if your boyfriend is a decent person and they're able to take care of themselves and you're not, you know, being strained in any way, I feel like it's fine. You know, go out there, live your life. The last thing that you want to do is find yourself bitter and resentful because your parents didn't let you make your own choices and live your own life. And I feel like it's important for parents to recognize that. You may have all of the concern in the world for your child, and you might want them to, you know, live the best possible life. But the best possible life involves the freedom to choose. Hey guys, did I ever update you all and tell you that my husband officially got me a truck? Nice. Nice. I don't know if we've been told this. This sounds new. W husband? Can't remember if I told you guys, but we've secured a truck, and not just any truck, the exact one I wanted. The freedom to go back, no, unless they hold a grudge against their own child. Sounds normal, right? Right? I feel like parents, you're supposed to love your child. And sometimes I just see parents do things that it doesn't really feel like love to me. You know, cutting their child out of their life because of the choices that the child made. Not even anything that bad. Just like who they wanted to date, what they wanted to study. scared to tell you. It's a Dodge Ram. So, tailgating you soon. The #1 vehicle of road rage incidents. The Dodge Ram. Plot twist, it was his, which he bought because he was inspired by my old one. Fast forward to Saturday, and I made a oopsie. We were in downtown, it was insanely busy, and in an attempt to get out of another car's way, I scraped the back edge of my truck on a parked truck. I cried for hours, but I'm still here to share that I was able to de-escalate myself from spiraling. Oh, you know, see, here's the thing about driving a truck. When your truck has a few bumps and scratches, that's the sign of a happy truck. A truck wants to be out having adventures. You're not driving around in a truck so that you can have this pristine luxury vehicle that's just everything's perfect. It's like, besides, it's just cosmetic anyway. It took until the next day, but I'm okay now. It was non-stop tears for about 14 hours. My husband was mad because of how upset I was. You know how men are. Well, yeah, he's frustrated because he sees that you're upset and he feels like he needs to be able to do something about it. But he kind of can't, and so he feels powerless, and then he feels frustrated because he's like, oh no, there's my partner and they're suffering, and now I feel... Men, just take it from me. If your partner is upset or stressed, don't feel like you have to rush to fix it or do anything about it. Just be there for them. Just be there for them. Get them a cookie. He told me he bent his whole front hood and just hammered it out and that it's not a big deal. He ended up going outside with a hammer, screwdriver, and a towel. Came outside 15 minutes later and the dent was completely gone. The scrape was not nearly as bad as I thought. Husband saved the day and I haven't cried since. Well, see, now you know. We should have just asked him sooner. I take things a little too personally when something happens to this vehicle, and I'm trying to tell myself that no one is going to scream at me for messing something up. It's the fight or flight mode, I think. Do you mind if I psychoanalyze you just a little bit? With your permission, of course. Do you want a little psychoanalysis? It's not just about the truck, it's about what the truck represents. It's a milestone. It also represents your independence, your freedom, all of the hard work that you've been doing, all that you've overcome. And so when something happens to the truck, it feels like something happens to all of your hard work. Thank you, that'll be $50. I'm joking. I'll give you the moderator discount. Tree Fitty. I feel like many people could relate to this situation. Let's say that you got out of a bad relationship, you got out of a bad situation, you quit a shitty job, whatever it might have been. You got out of a bad situation and into a good situation, and as a you know, like as a gesture to yourself or as a signifier of your progress, you treat yourself to something. And then if something ever happens to that thing, it might really hurt because it's more than just an object, it's a symbol. Where's Robin? She also has a truck. We have a strong community of truck driving women. We're the brain domain is really big with the truck driving women population. I'm here for it. One time I was driving home, and when I pulled into the driveway, I scraped up against my brother's brand new car. I didn't know how to do it, honestly. I don't know how I did it, honestly, and didn't want to inform him. I did, and he never forgave me. He didn't forgive you because he's weak. It's... holding on to grudges, especially for accidents like that, that's... baby mode. That's baby mode. We grow out of that. I used to have an old 98 Ranger. That thing was a beast. Oh, brother, let me tell you, I got a classic 90s Dodge Dakota. It's red. It's got a V8. Wanted to back out and go back to my college town 4.5 hours away. When it comes to talking to your brother, I want to say it, but I also don't want to say it. Okay, how about a hypothetical? GNG, let's say that you were to go up to your brother, and he was upset about something, and you were to just look him straight in the eye and say, well, what are you gonna do about it, pussy? How do you think he would take it? The moment it happened, I would scream, punch the wall, bag, go to the gym. You know what's noticed? You know what I've noticed is that when you get upset about something, it always fades. It's always right there in that beginning where it's like, oof, that hurts. You accidentally scratch something, you accidentally ding something. It's like, oh no, I've ruined its perfection. But it's fine. We live in a physical world with objects that are meant to be interacted with, and sometimes bumps and scrapes happen. As long as it doesn't take away from the functionality of the thing, who cares? Mom got my brother a Ford Ranger for his 16th birthday, and my dad ended up getting a hold of it after my brother upgraded to a Mazda 626. The Ranger was supposed to be mine next, and my dad sold it for undervalue. My mom's never forgave him over it. Is that where your brother learned to never forgive people over things? It's important to recognize that when you hold on to a grudge, that's just you keeping yourself angry. You're keeping that fire hot. You're keeping that fire lit. You're picking at yourself. Anyway, what I would encourage all of you to do is if there's anything that you've been holding on to for far too long, you've been walking around with this turd in your hand, trying to show it to people, and you're like, hey, look at this. I'm so upset by this. It's like, why are you still carrying it? Did you carry it around just so you could show it to people and be like, hey, look at how angry I am. Look at how justified I am to be so upset. If you're holding on to anger, that is you making yourself upset. What the other person has done has already been done. It's you perpetually re-angering yourself. Should I forgive my family for enacting horrific sexual abuse towards me and perpetually lying that it never happened? When I say forgiveness, what I don't mean is telling somebody that what you did was okay. What I don't mean is saying I'm fine with what you did. When I say forgiveness, I mean whatever it is that you did doesn't hurt me anymore. I've let it go. I'm over it. You don't forgive for the sake of the other person. You don't forgive for the sake of the person that has offended you. You forgive so that you no longer have to hurt anymore. And so if in time you do choose to forgive, and it's your choice, whenever you're ready, it's about letting go of pain. It's not about saying that what happened to you was okay. Doesn't mean that you have to let those people around you. Doesn't mean that you have to have any place in their life or them have any place in your life. The way that I look at forgiveness is it's about letting go of pain. Forgive for yourself, not for anybody else. Forgive so that you don't have to feel that hurt anymore. Because carrying on to that pain, carrying that anger, it eats away at you. Letting it go frees up space for better things. Oh, my Google Chrome crashed. Pull it back up. That's what I get for using Google Chrome. I supposed to forgive that for me when I didn't do it? In your own time and in your own way. It's not a linear process. You know, you can look back at the horrible things that happened to you and you can say, I didn't deserve any of that. But I'm no longer hurting because of it. And I think that's the goal. It's not about undoing the past. It's not about, you know, glossing over anything that happened. It's about moving on and it's about healing. Say holding on to something keeps it burning hot, then why do they say revenge is best served cold? I don't really get it, but I get why I should want to forgive for me. You know, think of it like a physical wound. Let's say that 10 years ago, somebody stabbed you. And then every year on the anniversary of you being stabbed, you stab yourself, and then you remind yourself of all of that pain. You're reopening the wound. Because what has been done, and we can't change what has been done. The wounds that have been inflicted on us have been inflicted on us. And so do I want to work towards my healing? Do I want to be free of these wounds? Or do I want to keep wounding myself? To remind myself of that past pain. I have a father that did a shit ton of psychological damage to me when I was young, and currently he still blames people around him for mistakes. I don't want to forgive him because he doesn't see any wrongdoing in his actions. Am I in the wrong here? Forgiving him doesn't sound good because he still throws shit at my mother for leaving him 13 years ago. Let's talk about forgiveness a little bit more. I feel like when most people think about forgiveness, it involves some sort of face-to-face conversation with the person that has hurt you. And you look them in the eye and you say, I forgive you. It's okay. But no, that's not how forgiveness works. You can look back and you can say, damn, my dad was really messed up. My dad was really struggling. And he took a lot of that out on me. And it wasn't fair and it wasn't okay. It's about taking the power away from your abuser. Exactly, it's about taking your power back. At the end of the day, that's what it's about. It's about taking your power back. Like, you can look back and be like, I think it's important to understand how abuse works in cycles and how you can be a part of ending that cycle. If you were dealt abuse by a parent or a caregiver, it is highly likely that they were abused in a similar way. It doesn't mean that it's okay that they abused you. It doesn't excuse their behavior. but it helps to provide an explanation. It helps to provide some understanding. It's important to feel empowered and to recognize that I am going to be the one to bring an end to this cycle. It stops with me. Did you explain the Garfield? I don't get it. It's pretty self-explanatory. Kids these days are so weak, we turned out fine. Yeah, right? And then they're also like, oh yeah, back in my day, nobody wore helmets. You know, kids just used to run around wild. I'm like, kids also died at startling rates. It's a survivorship bias. Alright. Oops, I don't know how to spell. Survivorship bias. Let me show you this picture of a plane. What you're doing is you're drawing conclusions from an incomplete data set. All of the planes that come back, they all have bullet holes in all of these red spots here. All of these... all of the planes that came back, they've all got holes in all of these places. So what should we do? We should reinforce those places, because that's where the planes are getting shot the most, right? No. Those are the places where the planes that survived got shot. And so it's survivorship bias when your parents say stuff like, well, my parents treated me this way and I turned out fine. It's like, but did you? Back in my day, there was no autism. Back in my day, kids didn't wear helmets when they were riding around on their bikes. We turned out okay. But how many of you didn't make it? We can understand it and even empathize without excusing the actions. Well said, that's very true. And that's also a very emotionally mature stance to take. You can look back and you can say, damn, my parents were fucked up. And it's really sad that because of how fucked up they were, they fucked me up. But thankfully, I'm the one who's gonna do something about it. I'm the one that's gonna get better, I'm gonna break the cycle. And you can do all of that without excusing what they've done. Turns out we all deserve better. Well said. Amen. Whenever it comes, like, and I've found that that's a helpful way to approach it, because I have talked to older people in a therapeutic context, and, you know, they'll say things like, well, back in my day, or, you know, like, things happened this way, and I turned out okay. And what I will normally say is like, well, I wish things hadn't been so hard for you. I feel like you deserved better. You know, I let them know. And if you might find that to be helpful. If you're ever talking to like parents or grandparents and they have that kind of like, well, back in my day, we did things this way and I turned out okay. You can just let them know, like, well, I think that you deserve better. I think we all deserve better. Well, who's gonna pay for it? Because that sounds like socialism. You're telling me we all deserve better? But then, if everybody's doing better, then how am I gonna know who I'm better than? If everybody's doing well, how am I gonna feel superior? I want to dedicate time or form a habit to practice drawing consistently. But whenever I do, I get annoyed or frustrated to the point of wanting to quit. For an exaggerated example, I frequently have to hear myself say, "This sucks, this sucks, this sucks," during practice or nearer to the time of practicing. Any advice to quell this situation? In other words, any advice to calm my extreme ping-pong of emotions regarding practicing drawing that teeter between I want to draw and I hate drawing that happens quite frequently? What you need, my friend, is some hype. Because you've got the performance anxiety down, you've got the performance anxiety on lock. This sucks, this sucks, this sucks, I'm so bad at this sucks. What you need are some positive affirmations. I did pretty good with that one. I'm getting better at this. I like the way that turned out. It's important to be able to find those positive affirmations within yourself, but I would also encourage you to look outwards and to find other people who could be like, hey, that looks pretty good. What is it that makes art good or bad? What is it that makes art suck? As long as you are creating art, you're winning. You know what it is? I have a theory. All right, everybody, get your tinfoil hats. Get your tinfoil hats. I have a theory here. I think what you might be dealing with is a little bit of internalized capitalism. You might be dealing with a little bit of internalized capitalism. Now, what do I mean by internalized capitalism? I need to excel at everything that I do. I need to be at the top of my game. I need to be at the top of the industry. If I'm not number one, I'm number none. There's also this compulsion to profit off of anything that we do. If I'm not making money, then I'm wasting time. So, whenever you're drawing, just try to make it, just try to do it for fun. Just try to create a fun atmosphere. You know, have a little place that you do it, listen to your drawing music, you know, get comfy, and just try to have fun. Because that's the whole point. That's the whole point. You're here to have fun. You're here to learn and grow. Here to get women pregnant. How's that going for you? Going well? Are you keeping up with all of your child support payments? Now, having children is a big financial responsibility. If your whole point and purpose of life on this planet is to procreate, congratulations, you've fallen into the trap. That's... Oh, here I go, responding to that biological imperative to go out and procreate and reproduce, just like even the lowest life forms do. It's pretty basic, if you ask me. Don't have kids unless you can afford the time and energy that it would take to be a good parent. Just having a child is just the beginning. It's not the success that you think it is. You've got a lot of work ahead of you to make sure that that child is raised the right way. We have an undeniable primal desire to procreate. Yeah, that's what I was saying. It's a biological imperative. It's hard-coded into your DNA. And so a lot of people end up going out and doing it, and then they don't know what to do afterwards because, you know, it's kind of like... Have you ever seen a dog catch a rabbit? You ever seen a dog catch a rabbit and it's like, oh my god, I've been chasing this my whole life. Now what do I do? It's kind of like that. You are responding to a biological compulsion, but you're not actually thinking about what you gotta do after the fact. I'm a man, I gotta go, LOL. All right. Have fun. Would you possibly have any tips for people who are job hunting? Ooh, I'll try, but I've heard that the job market is hell right now, so you have my condolences. The whole process feels like you're constantly being put on trial and you're simultaneously supposed to act humble and like you're the best thing that could possibly happen to your employer, which can be super confusing, exhausting, and disheartening once you are told no again and again. All right. All right. All right. Okay, all right. Let's try to think about this a little bit differently. Getting a job, especially if you are able to get into an interview, it feels like there's this whole song and dance, and I have to do the routine correctly if I'm going to secure employment. So let's think about some things that could possibly set you apart from other applicants. What you might find to be helpful is to ask questions during the interview that kind of set you apart from other applicants. My go-to is to ask the interviewer, what's your favorite part about working here? What you might find is that people will hire people based on how well they feel like they click with that person. It might have less to do with your credentials, it might have less to do with your work history, and it might have more to do with, does this person feel like they could work with me? And so I've found it to be helpful during an interview to just be likable. To just show interest, to just, show that you're somebody that they can get along with. You're somebody who can, Charisma is like a cheat code. It's true. You gotta max out your charisma. Just little things. Little things. Like if your interviewer has a picture on their desk of their family, you're like, you have a beautiful family. If they have some art hanging on the wall, be like, ooh, I really like that. It's don't lay it on too thick, but it's just those small little things that'll help you to set you apart from other people. Don't be creepy about the family though. Like, so, your son, it looks like he plays baseball. When's his next game? I think I'll go. Don't do that. You're taking it too far. Like, wow, what a hot wife. Hubba hubba, awooga awooga. Don't do that. They've already got your resume. They already know what your credentials are. They just want to make sure that you have a functioning brain and that you're pleasant to work with. That's it. And if you don't get the job, no big deal. Just keep trying. Don't give up. Also, reach out to friends, family, anybody that you know that has a job somewhere and see if they have any openings. Because nepotism. As much as we like to believe that meritocracy is the way, it doesn't really work that way. It's actually much more about who you know and not what you know. I hire based on their cost to production numbers, end of story. How very masculine of you. How very masculine of you. Let's keep the workplace a cold and unfeeling place. We gotta keep grinding, guys. We gotta make more money for the shareholders. Are we too conscious for our own good? Now see, here's a question. Are we too conscious for our own good? I don't think so. I feel like our consciousness is our greatest gift. Really is cold and unfeeling. It's business. I make candles. Now, today I've learned. You know, I would assume that the candle business would be a bit more like, you know, candles, you know. Candles are meant to be relaxing, enjoyable. Business is business, though. Hey, you're not wrong. Which is why I'm not a businessman. As long as there's love in the candle, that's what matters. Anyway, consciousness. Are we too conscious for our own good? I can see where you're coming from. Because consciousness, let's use another term just to make it easier to understand. Awareness. Your awareness. Awareness is really important, but what you've probably noticed is that the more aware you are of things, the more you become aware of all of the crappy things in life. And so this can lead people into cynicism, this can lead people into nihilism. They're like, oh no, the world is terrible, there's so much suffering, there's so much awful stuff that's happened, and it's all so bad, and consciousness is a curse. It's a double-edged sword. What I find to be true is that you want to be as aware as you possibly can be, but you don't want to hurt yourself with that awareness. Because your awareness is a gift. It's how you survive. It's how you plan. It's how you prepare. It's how you navigate the world that you live in. You can be aware of all of the suffering that's going on in the world. You can read about it. You can research it. You can watch news that talks about it. You can occupy all of the hours of your day with awareness of the suffering that exists in the world. But the problem is not with our awareness, the problem is where we choose to focus that awareness. We're dealing with a negativity bias. We are wired, we are programmed. We are biologically driven to fixate on negative stimuli. Things that could potentially hurt us. Bad news. If it's negative, it impacts us more than if something is positive. Because when something is negative, it could potentially hurt us. And we're trying to survive out here. And so whenever something bad happens, we tend to be much more aware of it. It's your brain trying to protect itself. So, make a conscious effort to turn your awareness towards the other side. You know, even though there is suffering and catastrophe, there are always people willing to step up and help. There are always people willing to do something about it. Humanity has done a lot of harmful, terrible, awful things, and it can make you feel really bummed out about us as a species. But we've also done a lot of really incredible, wonderful, beautiful things. And so, try to be aware of both. Try to find balance. Try to find peace and contentment. One of the things that experienced meditators will do is they will practice directing their consciousness, directing their awareness onto itself. And that's when things get really interesting. Try to trace it back to its source. Why does it feel like no one is thinking deeper about life? You know, I feel like they would. I feel like they would if we gave them more time. If we gave them the opportunity to. I forget what tribe it was, but I saw a piece and it was talking about human productivity, and what they were talking about was they were talking to some like uncontacted tribe or some like very remote, like primitive tribe of humans, and what they found was that when they weren't actively doing stuff, they were just sitting there doing nothing, and they were perfectly okay with that. And so I feel like your conditions and the expectations that are placed upon you, they determine what it is that you think about, what it is that you dwell upon whenever you have some time to just sit there and think. And so for some people, it's natural to just sit there and think whenever they're not doing anything else. It makes a lot of sense how societal and cultural pressures can interfere with what it is that your brain does whenever you're just sitting down with time to think. Especially if you live in a capitalistic system where you need to keep making money, otherwise you starve. I don't know about you, but I'm becoming less and less thrilled about the prospect of a system that is obey your boss or die. Kind of sucks. Also, I feel like a lot of people have been actively discouraged from critical thinking. You know, the more advanced our technology gets, the less people have to figure out things on their own. So I feel like a lot of people aren't thinking about those deeper topics because they're not programmed to. They've been discouraged against it. Like, hey, don't worry about it. If you have a question, just Google it. You don't have to think. The information's already there. Why is everyone going on about their day like we are not the monkeys who suddenly gained awareness and they're meat creatures on a rock? And if they're living because they have meaning, what does meaning mean? Why is it enough for people to go on for the sake of going on? Or for families or friends, yet it's not enough for me. I am aware this path of thinking is dark and most people would rather not think about it, but I'd rather live with the pain than smile with ignorance. I think I just need reframing. Yeah, the more awareness you put into it, the further you'll get, and what you'll notice is that you'll circle back around to smiling again. Because in spite of all of those things, in spite of all of these realizations, and all of this understanding, you're still going to find that there are going to be mysteries and unanswered questions. And so you'll come to a point where it's like, well, you know, life is wonderful. It's full of all sorts of incredible stuff. I'm just happy to be here. Now try to think of the interconnectedness that you have with the rest of the world. I wouldn't worry about what anybody else is thinking. I would just ask them questions to get them thinking. That's what I try to do. I think about this type of stuff, and what I like to do is just ask people questions to see what they think about that kind of stuff. That's just me, a certified freak. What do I do at a funeral? Is I'm sorry for your loss and sitting on the side enough? I feel like I should be providing more comfort to the person experiencing the loss. Is there anything I can do? Yes. First off, you being there is you doing something. When a person is dealing with grief, there's not really much that you can do in that moment to make it better. And so, if you do want to offer them some words, I would just make sure that it doesn't feel fake. I would just want to make sure that it feels genuine. My go-to, feel free to borrow this if you like it. My go-to when I go to a funeral, instead of saying, you know, hey, sorry for your loss, I say, hey, hope you're holding up okay. Like, I want to show the person that I hope that they're doing okay. I hope that they're hanging in there. Hope you're doing all right. because we understand that grief is difficult, grief is complicated. And I feel like sorry for your loss is kind of overplayed. I think it kind of depends on how well you know this person, too. Like, if this person is close to you, then obviously you're going to want to do it differently than if this is just, like, somebody you don't really know. So it kind of depends. If it's just a person that you might not really know that well, it was some distant relative or some, hey, Beaver, you're here. Yes. I'll clear a spot. He's waiting. He said, move your keyboard. Good morning. Did you have a nice nap? You ready for part 2 of your nap? Hey, Claire de Mondra, thank you for the 100 bits. Thank you. Alright. Let me just say, even if you just show up to the funeral and you say, I'm sorry for your loss, and you just sit there to the side, that's also fine. There's nothing wrong with doing that. You're there, you're being present, you're, offering some form of condolence. That's okay. That's what a lot of people do, and that's okay. If I know the person that's grieving, I normally like to offer them a hug, and then I like to, let them know, like, I hope you're doing all right. I hope you're hanging in there. There's no proper way to grieve. It's true. You're gonna grieve differently every time you grieve. Grief varies from person to person, but it also varies from instance to instance. It might be totally different when you lose one person versus when you lose someone else. You might experience grief in an entirely different way. Generally, the last thing a grieving person wants is to talk more about it that early in the process. Yep. You just want to show them that you're there, that you care. That goes a long way. Don't ask them for their plans for what they're gonna do. Don't ask them for details about whatever happened. Just let them know, like, hey, I hope you're doing all right. I hope you're hanging in there. What I do at a funeral is I just try to feel the sadness. There's a lot of feeling culminating at this event. I just try to be present with it, and I try to share it with the people that are there. I think that's what funerals are all about. In my family, we normally do like more of a celebration of life, and so it's a less somber affair. It's a little bit more upbeat, but I have been to the traditional like open casket type affairs too, and it does feel a little different. It does feel a little different. It does feel a little bit more heavy. I'm not being kind to anyone at Dick Cheney's funeral. I'm just surprised you got invited. Celebration of lifestyle is way easier to digest. I agree. I'm like, the whole open casket thing. You know, I understand why it's important for some people to do, but there's also a part of me that's just like, wow, what a bummer. Like, please, when I am dead, have a party. For God's sake, have fun, please. Don't just lay out my corpse so that everybody's like, oh my God, there's a dead body in the room. No thanks. Drop me into a volcano and then go have a party. Get one of those big, long sandwiches. Get a 6-foot sub. Hell, get 2 of them. I did not want to have an open casket at my mom's funeral, and my dad and sister agreed, but my aunts and uncles were mad. See, like, I understand why some people like to do it. It's traditional, but I also think it's just kind of... I don't know. There's just something unsettling about it. Like, I'm not uncomfortable by it, but I'm just like... Whatever it is they do to, like, prepare the body for a viewing, it does just kind of make it feel like, I don't know. Catholics are ridiculous with it. Oh yeah, Catholics take everything too far. It's just one of the most uncomfortable services you'll ever be in. It's like, all right, everybody sit on the hard wooden bench. All right, now kneel. All right, now stand up. Now kneel again. Now stand up again. All right, now back to kneeling. You're doing all of this while there's a gigantic portrait of, like, bloody Jesus on the wall. Like, Christians laugh about other religions. I've studied religions a lot, and what I've noticed is that every religion has its own fucked up sects. Not sex, sects, S-E-C-T-S. Every religion has its own, like, messed up component. Some of them are bigger than others, but I feel like, you know, people use faith as a tool, and sometimes people will use it as a way of leveraging control. An evil Taoist. Now, see, here's the thing. There are even grifters within Eastern philosophies. That happens too, especially when they start preaching abundance. Like, wouldn't God just be so happy to see you wealthy? Show God how serious you are by giving money to me. There are grifters within every faith. You wouldn't think so, because some faiths are set up to be anti-grifter, but there are still grifters within those spaces. crazy. It's crazy. Grifter's gonna grift. Can you stop pushing my keyboard, Beavis? Cat. Those teeth. Those fangs. Oh. Oh. Okay. Oh, you're using me for a stretch. That's Beaver. He's our mascot. If you notice the orange cat emotes, that's him. Alright, Beaver, I got questions to answer. Are you done? No, he's not done. Look like a little alien. What are you doing? Are you coming up here? Oh, you want to cuddle? Okay. All right. Good boy. Motor's going, Beaver. Can't really hear it, but his motor's going. Oh, okay, he's done. Just like that, he's done. He's back in his spot. He said that's it. No more. He said we're good here. Yes. That won't stop me. Thank you, Casey. She said, "Do you want these other two tenders? They are room temperature." So it's never stopped me before. Survivorship bias explanation just unlocked a grim memory. When I was younger, a few friends were out messing around and thought it would be a good idea to jump on the back of a lorry for a ride. A reversing lorry. A lorry is British for a big truck, right? A lorry is a big truck, right? Like a semi? I think so. I think that's what a lorry is. Yes. Like a commercial truck. I remember being out on the street and just hearing these sickening screams come from around the corner. When me and my other mate ran around to see what happened, we just all seen all of our friends crowded around the wee fella from down the road and the lorry, which was still on top of him. This giant pool of blood and his leg to pelvis absolutely flattened. He just kept squealing for his mom. He survived, but he can no longer stand to take a piss, I'll just say that much. But there's just so many stories similar, to that one, where I'm left wondering how most of us survived to see adulthood. There is a quote that sticks around inside of my mind. Safety regulations are written in blood. We like to forget. We like to say oh, people are just too soft. People are just too soft. There's too much safety. There's too much regulation. It just gets in the way. It's no, there's a reason why those regulations are there. There's a reason why those safety protocols are in place. It's because people have literally died. A lot of these rules are written in blood. These regulations, it's... People went to work and never came home. That's how I put it to conservatives. You know, it's kind of like a teenager way of looking at the world. Do you remember being a teenager and thinking, nothing bad could ever happen to me, I'm indestructible? Right? I feel like some people get caught in that mindset, and it's not until something happens to them that they actually start to care. I have an ancestor who died being pulled into a cotton gin. Wow, of all the ways to go, that sounds... kind of crazy to think about all of the people that have died by being sucked into machines and shit. It's... Anyway. Life is precious. Can you imagine being pulled into one of these bad boys? I want to see one in action. I'm assuming it was a big one. Must resist the urge to dive in head first. Resist the urge. Yeah, it's kind of crazy to think about how people had to fight and die for the 8-hour workday and the 5-day work week. That's pretty crazy. One of the first times the Air Force was deployed on American citizens was to stop labor organization. Yeah. Doesn't looking back through the history of capitalism make you pretty upset? Doesn't it also make you upset when capitalists are always like, but socialism's so bad, look at how much harm it's caused in other places, and it's like, motherfucker, do you not see how much damage capitalism is doing right now? The thing that I find the most hilarious is when they post a picture of like a rundown street, or it's got like tents on it, there's people living outside, and they're like, this is the world that the socialists want. It's like, you're showing me a picture of America under capitalism. Like, what are you talking about? There are empty houses too. At least 20 to 1. The number used to be higher, but the number of people without a home has gone up, so the range has shifted. It used to be about 26 empty homes per homeless person. Now it's about 20. My ancestors are from Harlan County and they fought the coal companies. It's a source of pride for me. Oh, hell yeah. You've probably heard the term redneck before. You've probably heard the term redneck, and it's used to describe somebody who's like poor, working class, white person. But did you know that it actually goes back to the labor movement? They called them rednecks because they had red bandanas. I'm trying to find a picture. Oh, I have to... This is not a free article. A little bit of Appalachian history. Oh yeah. There's a lot of interesting history from labor movements and workers' rights. Sniff it, but you can't eat it, Beaver. It's spicy. You're not gonna like it. It's a spicy tender. I tried to warn you. I told you wouldn't like it. Kids should learn about the class warfare at the turn of the 20th century. Oh yeah, we didn't talk about that shit at all. We just talked about how much money J.D. Rockefeller made. We talk about how, well, there got to a point where people were making too much money, and so we had to bust up the monopolies, and that was a good thing. We need class consciousness desperately. Thoughts on this biological phenomenon? All right, let's take a look. Turn down my music. I can't hear this video.
Inside your skin, there are these neurons, these little cells that will fire when they sense a particular type of touch, right? So some of them will go off when they feel pain, some when they feel hot or cold, some when you feel pressure. But in 1999, scientists made this really weird discovery. So they're like eavesdropping on some of these neurons using little electrodes, and they found one neuron in there that like basically ignores everything, won't fire for any of that other stuff, will only go off if you trigger it with a really soft little gentle stroke. Okay, that's the only way you can get it to go off. So they
So we discovered petting. Scientists have discovered petting.
decided to call these C-tactile afferents. I mean, we know for decades that there's these types of things that you find in animals. Like, this is the reason why when you kind of give a dog or a cat like a little scratch behind the ears and they just like lean into it and love it, this is literally what's going on, right? It's their version of these neurons that are firing and being like, that's delicious. But in humans, they're a bit stranger. Like, there's some weird stuff going on. For example, like, there's this very, very narrow frequency in which these things will fire. If you go too fast, it's not interested. If you go too slow, also not interested at all. It has to be this sweet spot in the middle of about 3 centimeters per second that will make these things go off. We also know that the temperature really matters.
Yeah, the frequency matters. Kind of like how if you hear a beat, if it's not a consistent beat, it doesn't sound like music, it just sounds like noise. Whereas if the beat is too fast, it doesn't sound like music, it just sounds like noise. There's a range in which our brain is able to find the pattern, or the pattern makes sense.
Matters of the thing that's doing the stroking, right? So if it's too hot, don't care. Too cold, not interested. The sweet spot, again, is about 32 degrees centigrade, which is around about the temperature of somebody else's hand. Now, okay, if you're somebody like most of us who enjoy the feeling of like soft caresses, then this is not going to be that much of a surprise. But the question is like, why? Evolution generally is about being as lazy as you can possibly be without dying, right? Why would evolution bother putting something like this? Putting, as though it's got agency. Why would you get something like this as a result of evolution?
Well, because we have to survive together. Evolution isn't just about our own drives to survive, it also helps us cooperate and work together, and so love feels good, connection feels good. You know, there's a reason why it feels nice to have a hug.
And then, just a couple of years ago, this group of scientists led by Ilona Croy had this genius idea. They took a group of mothers and they put them in a room holding their babies. And they didn't tell them what they were doing. They just sat back and observed them. And every single one of the mothers started stroking their babies. They weren't just stroking their babies randomly. Every one of them was stroking their babies at exactly the frequency that these neurons fire at. Right? This is like no training, no kind of calibration.
It's biological instinct.
Like maternal instinct that knows the exact rhythm to make their baby.
I don't
feel
like
good.
hugs. Skill issue.
We now know that this neuron firing, right, is linked with lowering the baby's heart rate, reducing.
Give yourself a hug.
And if
Give yourself a hug and hold it until you like it.
you do this for preterm babies, you will literally reduce the amount of time that they spend in hospital. How gorgeous is that? That there is this like built-in biological lullaby that we are all pre-programmed to know the rhythm to even before we're born. What an
Yes, it is very cool. Do you also think about how you can't tickle yourself? There are ways to invoke like a tickle response with yourself. You can also show yourself gentle touch and fire those neurons, but it might take more time, it might take more focus. You might have to be very relaxed, very peaceful. But what you might notice is that sometimes when you're feeling very good, you're feeling very relaxed, maybe you're in a hot tub, maybe you're in the bath, maybe you're just chilling. What you might notice is that maybe your hands will kind of just like, without you even having to think about it, you might just have a hand that's just like, I don't like hugs either. You see, I look at hugs as like, we're both out here living that life, brother. Human to human. What if someone had tickled Ted Kaczynski? Maybe the world would be different. Actually, I think that if Ted Kaczynski didn't get involved in that government operation to torment him at university, things would have been different. This isn't even like a conspiracy theory. This actually happened. Ted Kaczynski was involved in an experiment that he didn't even know about. He had people that would like follow him around at his university and like call him names and just like fuck with him. And they did this for a long period of time. It was part of MK Ultra. They were basically just trying to psychologically break him. I'm off to go whip my employees since I own the means of production and they signed the release. Have a great day. I'm gonna get your employees to unionize. All 2 of them. They're gonna engage in collective bargaining. To what end? Well, the MK Ultra experiments were all about trying to figure out, can we control people's minds using different psychological tactics, using different drugs, you know, all sorts of different experiments. There was these experiments went on for years. There's a whole lot to it. Hugs were discouraged or used as weapons. And so, are you planning on keeping that tradition? Or do you care to redefine what a hug means to you? The choice is yours. Anyway, that biological phenomenon is interesting. And what you'll notice is that you might catch yourself doing it sometimes. It's kind of one of those like self-soothing behaviors that we'll engage in. And what you'll notice is that you can do it to yourself if the time is right. You know, if you're very relaxed, if you're very peaceful, if you're just doing it and you're like, why don't I feel anything? Why isn't it working? Well, the time isn't right. You're forcing it. Anyway, for anybody who is anti-hug, I hope that you're able to redefine a hug. You know, I hope you're able to find a way to enjoy them because they are pretty nice. You can also try this. If you hug yourself, it will feel initially like I'm holding myself. Like, okay, what am I doing here? But if you do it for long enough, 20, 30 seconds, it'll stop feeling like I'm holding myself and it'll start to feel like I'm being held. So yeah, you can actually practice your hugging on yourself. It's just about doing it for long enough for your brain to flip over. You can also hug a dog. Or a cat if the cat is receptive. Sometimes the cat will not be in the mood. The orange cat is already here. He's been here. He's right here. Large and in charge. I paid an Etsy witch to improve my relationship with a crush. Am I unwell? I don't think you're unwell, but I feel like if you wanted to improve your relationship with your crush, it is up to you to do that. Now, here's the thing. If you paying an Etsy witch to help improve things, if that gives you motivation, if that gives you courage, if that gives you confidence, then maybe it does work. If you believe that it will help, then maybe it could help. And there doesn't even have to be anything magical to it. You see what I mean? It doesn't even matter whether or not the witch did anything. If you believe that the witch did something, then it makes you feel more confident, then maybe it helped. Kind of like a placebo. I had my palm read by a friend of the family when I was a kid. The predictions were completely wrong. It would be funny to be a palm reader and to look at people's hands and just be like, you need to quit cranking it so much. I can tell by looking at your hand that you're cranking it too much. So you need to knock it off. You've been gooning too close to the sun. Chad, I just can't believe it. Dick Cheney. I just can't believe it. What's your position on hats? My head too big? Here's my position on hats. Here's my position on hats, partner. This here's a stick up. Hand over all your subs. This here's a stick up. Reach for the sky. You look like ice right now, no offense. was doing a bit. I was asking for subs by pretending that this was some sort of old-timey railroad robbery. Now hand them over. Put your primes in the bag. I heard that ICE was having a recruitment problem because not enough people were able to pass the entrance exam, even though it's like open book. It's apparently very easy. Border Patrol typically just lowers the bar when they run into that issue. Yep. You mean like this? You mean when the Department of Homeland Security sent out a picture from Halo and they said, destroy the flood, join ICE? They're going after the gamers. That's how you know their recruitment numbers are down. They're trying to get all of these neats out of their nests. All right, Atticus, I'm coming. Hold on. This dog, he's ready to leave the room. All right, Atticus, I'm coming. Oh my god, okay, I'm coming, buddy. Well, I think I'm gonna wrap it up early today. Like I said, we're installing a garage door, so I'm gonna go help with that. But thank you all for being here. Thank you for hanging out. We'll be back again tomorrow with more. My apologies for the short stream today. Anonymous, thank you for the 5 gifted. Thank you for the 5 gifted, partner. It'll get me through to the next one. All right, everybody, stay safe out there. Have a great night. I will see you all tomorrow. Sean is streaming, so go say hi to him. Have a great night, everybody. I'll see you later. Bye-bye. Can't wait to go put in this garage door. Oh, yeah.